that could get the point across. Um, but it still holds true no matter what. So yeah. If you want to tell your friends to tune in right now and have me school them in something in my wheelhouse, then go on Twitter and let them know that I'm live. Um okay, so first things first, I might have to bring up a second one. Okay, so character is gonna be there, and then I'm gonna bring up a second one. Um because this gets me passionate, and this can teach people that there's knowledgeable people out there to like really tell you like why things are the way they are, and not just because they want to or they're just complaining. um you know um give me a second here. All right, so hopefully we're getting more people from Twitter for this. But I'm gonna take a quick little mini break. I will be right back, and then we're gonna dive into this thing. Um, it will be super quick. All right, so this is how. Oh wait, what? I just realized that my camera is not moving. I didn't touch it this time. I didn't touch my camera this time. This must be really awkward for you guys. So sorry. I bet you it was on the other one. Oh no, it did the same thing here. Oh no. Okay, so that's that. Not this again, man. So while I fix this, you guys have any questions about the whole novel and wrestling thing and how that goes together while I fix this. It's always when I get super excited and I'm like, hey, either gonna be right back or, I get super excited and then this happens. Why is this not working right now? Where is. Okay, here we go. I am back. But I gotta fix myself. So, give me a second. But again, if you guys have questions, drop them in the chat. Maybe I made some people angry. By saying this is for educational purpose. Hashtag AW Dynamite. I know that angering the AEW fans is not a good thing because they're not going to come over and want to listen. But sometimes it's like I get the positivity. I want to be positive too, but you just need to really like stop being overly positive and be like, look, these are some flaws that you got to work on. Now I understand why Cody left. Now I understand. All right, cool. Oh my god. I guess I could leave it like that. Okay. So, now that my camera is working, I am back and we're going to be talking about character development and how we can introduce plot to it, because this is again one of my things that I'm good at, that I can really see from a different perspective. So we're going to pause on me talking about AEW Dynamite for a bit to do this. Which, give me a second, I got to bring up the pictures. Let's start with the novel writing first, right? So for anyone that, when you were growing up and you went to school and stuff like that, and they had you take the English classes and they had you write like maybe stories or whatever the case may be, they always tell you that it's a 3 structure story plot, where basically it's like, obviously you have your beginning, middle, and end. That's for like academic stuff. That's for stories too. But you have your plot structure where it's like act 1, act 2, act 3. You see that structure mainly in plays. And I usually like to say that in professional wrestling, theater is the purest form of professional wrestling. It is the most basic form of professional wrestling. You could think of professional wrestling as a play in 3 acts, depending on like your wrestlers, the story you're trying to tell, and the scenes you're trying to play out in front of us inside the ring. So you have your act 1, act 2, act 3. No different from here in the plot structure. As you can see, act 1, I wish I can, you know what? Hold on. Let's make this a little bit more interactive. Let's make this a little bit more interactive. Just because I want to do that so bad. I just had an idea. Now, by the way, guys, I do not like teaching at all, but like if it comes to teaching you guys about plot, story, writing, and wrestling, I'm all for that. But if you ask me to go to like a high school and teach, no. I don't want to do that. Okay, this is the all right, so this is the novel one. Oh, actually, what am I doing? I'm doing the wrong thing. Why? The one time that I want to do something fun, it does not want to work, and you guys are here like this is live, and I don't plan for these things. Okay, I really don't plan for these things. How come I cannot see this? Do I have to share it? No, I'm not. That's not. No. Okay, that's not it. Um, because if I can write and draw on it, it'll be a lot more stimulating than anything. Oh, wait. Do I have to? Nope, that doesn't. Oh my god, why doesn't that not work? It's not. All right, does anybody out there know why I cannot see my pictures? That why I cannot share my pictures with you. Do I have to like put this up further? No, that doesn't work. Do I have to take that out? No, that's not. But I could show you Twitch, but I can't show you my photo. Why can I not show you my photo? Do I have to, how do I, how? I'm so confused. How the hell did that happen? Okay, so are you telling me I have no idea. Okay, so I have no idea. Let me. All right, I don't know what the fuck I did to have this come about. All right, let me all right, so this works. Again, at any time, just drop your questions in if you want to, ask me anything as I go through this. So yeah, so basically here's a picture of the plot structure, and like I was saying, that like in a play you have your act 1, act 2, act 3. You could definitely take the act 1, act 2, act 3 and write it in your novel. That's usually how novels are like supposed to go as, but that's not always the case. Because you can write your novel any type of way, and then sometimes if you want to apply it to professional wrestling, depending on the wrestlers that you have in the ring, depending on the story that you are trying to tell in that ring, on your own stage, because the famous quote from Shakespeare is all the world's a stage. Basically that ring is basically your stage, as well as backstage area, and then now social media has become your stage as well. But we're only keeping this towards professional wrestling, kayfabe, and everything else. We're not doing anything different. So you can think of like your story as a 3-part act. So I get to write on here, I get to mark it up. So this is why This is why I wanted to show you guys. You can see my little cursor here. Let me see. What do I want to do? Okay, so can I change the color or anything? So it's gonna, okay, it's gonna be that. What is this? That's not what I want. Let's go back to this. Is there no? Oh, here it is. It's down the bottom. I knew that. All right. So I guess we're gonna keep it blue. So here is exposition, which is basically like the introduction to who you are as a character, who you are as a person, right? So every time that I start up the Square Circle podcast, I am basically I'll just be like, hey guys, what's up? I'm Marie Shadows. I'm an ex-WWE employee, and I'm here with the Square Circle podcast. I am the creator and the host of it, and we're going to be talking about professional wrestling. We're going to be breaking down professional wrestling matches. We're going to be breaking down stories. I'm going to get you invested as to why you should pay attention to these stories in professional wrestling, as well as these companies. Bam. You know exactly what you're gonna get with the Square Circle podcast right there, right? I have told you a little bit of information, and hopefully that information makes you interested. You know, me mentioning that I'm an ex-WWE employee. Well, it's like, whoa, let me hear your backstory. You know, how'd you get there? You know, how'd you like it? You know, what was the working environment like? Did you make friends? Did you make enemies? How was HR? You know, like, and then all of a sudden it goes to, well, how did you leave? Like, that sort of should hook you in, that little bit of information. Me saying that I have the Square Circle podcast, and you're like, oh crap, it's another podcast that I can listen to, that it's female based. Her name was Marie Shadows, so let me go listen to it. And then I proceed to tell you to break down wrestling matches. Maybe you have a question about why this story is happening, why this feud is happening, or you don't know enough about the professional wrestler or the woman athlete to be like, hey, I don't know enough. Can you tell me enough? Can you seem knowledgeable? The more that you're confident in the way that you express yourself as a wrestler, as a character, the more that people are going to gravitate towards you. And you need that exposition where it tells you, no, where it tells them, the fans, basically, like, you know, who you are as a professional wrestler. So that's your exposition there. You're giving them the hook, no pun intended, to hook, but you're also like, you know, letting them know, this is who I am. These are like my motivations. Basically, my motivation is to have you listen to this podcast episode or any of the other podcast episodes and be invested in the companies that, you know, bring me joy, bring me love. So that is basically like what I mean when I say this is exposition. You're telling somebody a little bit about yourself, and hopefully the stuff that you say can definitely have them be like, oh, I'm interested now. Let me go on this journey. Because you see this whole entire thing here, this whole entire line that says rising action. That's basically all of your act 2. And I'm not saying that it has to get completed in like a short amount of time, in like 2 months. No, your act 2 as a professional wrestler can last a really good while, until we get to, you know, that climax, and then we have the falling action and then the resolution. So think of this as, I want to use New Japan for this, because this is the perfect example. New Japan is the perfect example of how to write a fucking novel. So basically, the rising action is basically your journey in professional wrestling to get your accomplishments done, your goals done, you know, whoever you want to feud with. And that's why I said that this doesn't have to take like 2 months. Okay. Realistically, it could take as long as it needs to, as long as you are able to tell your story in full. That's how long your rising action is going to be. But for the sake of this, I'm really trying to think of like a New Japan thing. Damn, I can't use Tama. Um, if I use the New Japan Cup, I don't know how this is gonna work. Okay. I cannot use New Japan Pro Wrestling at this time because I can't think of anything that I can be like, yo, this relates to it. But it really does. It really does. In my head, it really does. So yeah, let's see. So the Rising action is basically giving us a inside look of how you feud with other people in the business, how you tell your stories inside and outside the ring, and also on social media. And you know, your wins and losses are in that Rising action. This is your act 2. This is where you basically have the line and the fans are attached to that line, so that way they can support you, they could be on this journey with you, they can definitely see how far you've grown in the business, and just basically appreciate the fact that when we get to you challenging for that belt, whatever belt it is and whatever company it is, it's gonna be this. Okay, it's gonna be this. Why they call it the climax, I don't really know, but you know, you guys can really think about why they call it that. So your journey in Act 2 gets you to your goal of getting a championship title, whether that is the World Champion, Intercontinental, United States, Tag Team, never open weights, whatever belt, whatever championship title you want to go after, that is going to be where it is at the peak of this mountain, which is the climax, and you either win or you lose. It takes like 3 seconds to win or to lose, and then after that we go down. I don't have a mouse. I wish I'm using my mouse pad right now. This is like really, really interesting. All right, so just so people are aware, right? My 2 came out so bad. Okay, Act 2, and then this is my C came out really bad. Let me see if I can do a 3. Oh my god, I did a 3. Okay, so you have, after you get your accomplished whatever you want, whether that's a championship title belt, maybe you know, a cup or something, a tournament that you won, and that's like something like you really, really, really wanted to do. So now that you get that, you go down the line and you go down towards the falling action, which is basically like Act 3, and Act 3 is like where you sort of like rest and reassess what you want to do as your character. Now that you have the championship title belt, like, you know, are you automatically going to do like an open challenge? Are you automatically going to go right back into fighting your competition, taking on the next person because you know you got a target on your back? Or are you going to go take a vacation because you just did a lot of work in Act 1, Act 2, got to your destination, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I'm going to go take that break because I deserve it and I'm the best, right? So that's what Act 3 is all about in your character. This is where your character could turn heel. This is where your character can finally turn babyface, because maybe in Act 1 and Act 2 you were a heel, and then when you got the belt it just changed you and you ended up being a babyface. And that's what the falling action is, and that's what you do in a novel, that's what you do in a play. You basically allow the fans to sort of breathe with you and sort of just absorb the way that you you know, did your journey, and they're with you every step of the way. And then the resolution is where, you know, you'll get into the ring, and basically tell the fans, what your next step is, what your next goal is, and how you're going to be a champion. Or sometimes you don't even have to tell the fans that. You can just act it out in the ring and they'll get it more or less. But the resolution doesn't really have another act to it. It's attached to act 3. So that's that whole thing in one big piece. So the plot structure applies to you as a wrestler the same way that applies to writing a novel, writing a play or anything like that. So, act 1, again, exposition. Let us know who you are, your motivations, like a little snippet of yourself so that way I could be hooked. The rising action is that line that I'm holding on to make sure that I can support you in every single which way I can. Merch, buying a ticket to the show, showing up at the meet and greets, letting you know on Twitter that I appreciate you, letting you know hey, that was cool, this wasn't cool, make sure that you go beat this guy's ass or whatever, while you're telling me the story of why I should be invested in you. If you're not telling me why I should be invested in you and you're just having matches, what's the point of that? Professional wrestling is professional wrestling, but at the end of the day, it's still an entertainment business where I'm spending my time to be with you. So the least that you can do is be yourself, be your goofy self. Let me know that you really want this because you want to tell me a story, the same way that you want to feel good about the wrestling that you put out there, right? Because it's your story, it's your legacy, and I'm here along for the ride. That might sound maybe like a little entitled or whatever, I'm not too sure, but you get the idea of that. I'm giving you my time the same way that you're giving me your time, so let's just have one hell of a party. And that happens in act 2. So after we get all of the accomplishments and going through the obstacles, getting over the obstacles, we now arrive at the top of the mountain, which is our climax. And that could be either a championship belt, a trophy, or whatever. You win it. And then the falling action is us taking that break together and you explaining as a wrestling character, what your next step is. What do you want to do? Sometimes you can show. Also in professional no, I'm sorry, also in creative writing classes, they tell you show don't tell. In professional wrestling, everything is better when it's showing, but if you need to tell, you could do that as well. And then the resolution is basically part of the falling action, but that's the next, that's truly the next step of hey, I got the title, we're going to be a fighting champion, we're going to accept all oncomers. Or do the heel thing where you're nah, fuck you guys, I'm going on a vacation. So plot structure can help in building your wrestling character to be all round, because you just apply act 1, act 2, act 3 to your wrestling character the same way that you would do with a play, the same way that you would do with a novel, and bam, you're going to be fucking money. But again, sometimes wrestlers don't want to invest the same way that I want to invest in them. And this is how I invest in them, is by, telling this to fans, telling this to wrestlers, yo, this is how you become an all-around wrestler. You got to think of it like you acting out your own novel, your own story in front of people. It's just not backed by Marvel, All right, so that's that one. Now let's go on to character. Is it gonna work? It's not gonna work. Okay. Let me figure this out again. Welcome to anyone that just joined the stream. I am trying to... Okay, so hold on. So this works. This doesn't work. I don't know. I don't know what I did last time for it to work. What did I do last time? I can hear the rain coming through. Um, I wish that this thing wouldn't do this again. Why does this thing not want to work again? No, I'm okay. Again, bear with me. I fucking hate this. I really do. Um, let me just make a new one. I don't know if that's what happened the last time, because all I want to do is just talk to you about like character. Um, no, that's not it. Where is this thing at? Nope. All right. If anyone has any questions, you guys can definitely ask that right now as I try to fix this again. I really do not know why this always happens. Okay, I have my mute for the explanation. Great. Um, yeah, I took this from Now Novel. but this basically applies to like, you know, how to push your character, how to develop your character. So we looked at like using plot structure, act 1, act 2, act 3, as a way to really push your character as like a starting point. And why you would do the things that you do, and you know what it means to actually really hook your audience, so that way they can like support you and stuff like that. But this is more for like character development, so inner character and stuff. um I don't think I really need to write on this one, but just like, you know, hear me out. um so this says character development, 7 tips for a strong arc. You always want to have a strong arc as a character no matter what. The stronger the better. Some strong arc characters out there is like, you know, Jay White, Tama, Roman also unfortunately has a strong arc now. Who else do we have? Kenny has a strong one. You have Okada, you have Will Ospreay, you have trying to think of other people. Those guys have strong arcs, from what I can, you know, see. So basically, make your intro count. Exactly what I was talking about with having the exposition. You basically want to make sure that people can gravitate towards you and like want to support you, and they get interested in the things you tell them. So, you know, giving them a little like synopsis of yourself. Obviously number 2 says use dialogue, but again, it's depending on the character that you're playing. If you're playing yourself, obviously you're speaking your own dialogue. If you're playing somebody else, you can either do like method acting and stuff, or you just realize that the dialogue that you're speaking, if you are confident in what you're saying, the fans will definitely attach on. If the fans can smell any type of bullshit, they will call you out. Hopefully they will call you out and be like, yo, that's fucking bullshit. Like, don't try to act tough. There's a couple wrestlers that try to act tough, and I'm like, hey man, like, come on, you know, learn your character, learn your dialogue, be confident, and be you, and you'll be great. 3 is show emotion, and basically like, obviously everything's all in the face, body language, the way you talk, the way you interact. Make sure you show those emotions. Do not hide behind anybody. Sonata is one. But yeah, make sure you show emotions. Make sure that you get the message across for what you want, because the more emotions that you show, the better it is. And you know, fans will gravitate towards it. Fans will be like, oh my god, I want to watch this, I'm invested in it. Number 4, give hurdles. This is the equivalent to having obstacles in your way. You can't always win a match, CM Punk. So basically, like, make sure that there are hurdles going into your character. There are hurdles outside your character. So for example, characters in general, especially when writing characters, they can deal with man versus nature, man versus environment. They can deal with inner versus outer conflicts, social conflicts. You know, there's a lot of conflicts in the world that someone could deal with. And if you're telling a story where there's a conflict that you're dealing with, more people will latch onto you, especially with people who deal with, you know, societal issues, or people who deal with inner conflicts where it's always a constant struggle in their mind, and they have like anxiety and depression. And, you know, you want to tell a story in a very proper way where it's like you can overcome all these obstacles. So giving yourself hurdles, character wise, is also good, but also externally when you're going for championship titles, like who's going to stop you, who's your antagonist? Because to borrow a phrase from Kid Bandit, you are the protagonist of like your story. You're the protagonist of your novel. The thing you're trying to get across in this world in professional wrestling. So who are your antagonists? Who are your best friends? Who are your like sidekicks? Like who's the one that's really going to stab you in the back? So make sure that there's those hurdles put in place for your character to grow and have layers. The more your character grows and have layers, the more that people will appreciate it, and the more that people will want to watch it. Create turns, become babyface or heel, anti-heel. Simple as that. But don't do it too often. Please do not do it like the Young Bucks. Just do it as you see necessary for the sake of the story. Don't do it just because the fans are telling you to do it. Do it for the sake of the story. Sometimes you might miss the mark, sometimes you might not. It just all depends. For number 6, add perspectives. I'm all about perspectives. If you want to tell me, your opinion on something as a professional wrestler, go ahead and do it. I'm going to listen with an open mind. As a character, I'm definitely going to do it because it's in kayfabe. There's a lot of good wrestlers that add perspectives. And case in point for that one is Jay White. As much as this dude betrayed Bullet Club and betrayed Tama and everything, when he does his promos, he always adds a different perspective. I sometimes on this channel, I said it before a little while ago in one of the other episodes, that I don't believe that he is the catalyst of pro wrestling because of him doing the betrayal to Tama and T. I don't believe he's the catalyst of professional wrestling. However, my brain knows enough about Jay White where it's like, maybe he's right. Maybe he could be the catalyst of professional wrestling. But you see how that adds a perspective because you already know the character was given to you all in kayfabe up in front, where all of a sudden you as a fan is questioning the question that you definitely want the answer to be no, but you know in your heart that like it might be true, that kind of perspective. So Jay White does a great job of adding perspective. Who else does a great job adding perspective? I want to throw Tama in here, but I don't know. Tama adds good perspective when you like sit down and like listen to him. But nothing jumps out. But Jay White automatically like jumps out with adding perspectives, and how that helps as a character development. So if you guys want to, study some Jay White stuff, just study his tapes, study his promos, or just come to me and I could definitely tell you like what to study and what to look out for. And then 7, you can do this on your own time if you want to create a profile of your character. If you're doing this in kayfabe, just pick and choose what you want to do for your character. But see how easily I can break down how professional wrestling goes into writing and how writing and professional wrestling relates in terms of character development, story structure, making sure that your story is really top notch and I'm really invested. The best stories that are always told come from WWE, where it's like Warrior and Hogan and like Macho Man and Hogan, the power, the mega powers, Elizabeth and Macho Man, anything of like that era where it got you invested. And sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle and the art of things. And this is what AEW really needs to look at, is how to sit down and really like think about these characters, think about the stories that they want to tell. They're leaving a lot on the table. And because Tony Khan does not have a writing team to really think outside the box and be like, hey, maybe this works, maybe this doesn't work, let's try this. It's really hurting the wrestlers because not every wrestler could be a storyteller. And that's why there's writers. That's why there's ghostwriters. You can hire me as a ghostwriter and help you out in the back. I could definitely do that. I broke it down for you for how to create a wrestler. Brought to you by Marie Shadows. All right, let's go back. Hold on. Let's go back to talking about AEW Dynamite and sort of finish up because I have to cook dinner here on this side and stuff, so I can't really stay too long. I do know that Ronan wanted to watch some NXT highlights. We'll do that in the next one. We have the weekend to do that, and then I'll talk about some more wrestling. But let's finish up AEW Dynamite, and that would be an AEW Dynamite show. Pretty much. I gotta, did I? Okay, cool.